We don't even have the bandwidth for electrification, for education, for healthcare. We need to have proper conversations about what is the vision for the country and what is a distraction to get there. So I have a few questions like we can frame around like the conversation we want to have. And the first
Right.
question I want to ask Ife is, how has religion shaped Nigeria's political alliances? And I think you hinted on that when you're talking about president must be Muslim and the other guy must be Christian. Okay.
Yeah.
And to what extent do you think that our leaders exploit faith as a tool for power rather than service?
These are like very great discussions. So the first thing is about how religious alliances and how does religion shape leadership in Nigeria. And I think it does. Like it's undeniable. Like religion is a major thing. Even when people are running for office, I think they exploit that religious thing in Nigeria and they use that political coin. And you find maybe in some churches, some pastors begin to indicate that God says this is who we should vote for, to make their audience or their congregation believe that voting for this person is coming from God. And you find out that even during elections, it's not far-fetched to believe that some pastors are actually paid, or some faith-based people are
Hell
paid,
yeah.
to make their congregation vote on a side, so to speak. So I think that religion definitely has something to do. It plays a huge role in kind of the political alliances in Nigeria, and election strategy. And faith is exploited. Of course, a pastor can pray and say, "Hey, God says this is the leader," and people will believe in that congregation that this is the person that our pastor says, who is our medium to God, that this is the person we should vote for. So it is a major issue, when it comes to election. And the question begs, how can people understand that, hey, yes, if you're religious, you believe in God, that's great. However, you have to look at the person that you're voting for. What policies do they have in place? What is their, how have they politicized in the past? If they were a governor,
What is
how
your
did they
track
rule?
record?
Exactly. What is their track record? So these are the things. And I think, just not to sway us from it, but I think that one of the things I will highly suggest in the Nigerian political campaign is debate. I don't think Nigerian politicians have debate like they do in the US and in other country policies and things like that. And but what do you think, though?
I think what Nigeria needs in terms of how we choose leaders is track record. I mean, for my
I agree.
entire life, we've been recycling essentially the same leaders my entire freaking life. Now, I have no problem with the same leaders being in office, but what have they done? Why are we voting for them? What is the track record, right? If you have a child, give your child to a doctor who has zero track record of results. Like every child they touch die. And you're just like, yeah, my child go. So it's like, how are we viewing ourselves within the context of the country? Just to go back a bit about what you talked about with pastors and like religion. I mean, I often say this and I say it semi as a joke, but I really mean it. Like one of the best startup ideas, like if you're trying to invest in anything in Nigeria, invest in a church. That money will 10x, 20x, 30x, 40x, because that's where money is made. And I think that as much as we're a very religious country and we believe in God and God is great. I mean, I have nothing against religion. I have nothing against faith. I think that religion can be a tool for bringing community together, for preserving people's mental health, for giving them something to aspire to and hope for. But I think that religion has been weaponized and it is essentially a political ideology. And I think no matter how this shakes out, I think oftentimes as Nigerians, we just assume that religion was born in us. But no.
Right.
Islam and Christianity were colonial imports. Now, I'm not saying they're good or bad. I mean, we can break that down another day. But they are essentially a colonial import. And as a matter of fact, they're a political ideology. So I think that we need to start asking ourselves. It's the same thing around like ethnocentrism and ethnicity. It's like, who's Igbo, who's Yoruba, who's Hausa, who's Calabar, who's Edo, who's this? Like people will literally vote somebody in because he's Igbo or because he's Yoruba.
Right.
Like, what is the track record? What
Because it's their
rights
turn.
do they... Exactly. Like, what rights do they have to actually be in this country, to lead this country? Because we need to reframe the understanding that leadership is a service. It's not for people to oil their pockets, but that's exactly what it is right now. It's like, it's my turn to take money and oil my pocket and put it in all my bank accounts. It is my turn to be enriched from the country. So I wanted to just frame that. Like, there is a fundamental challenge with religion, and I think we can talk about this maybe at a later time, about the importance of secularity, where we need that separation of church and state. But I do want to say the thing about debates.
Right.
I do think that, yes, it would be nice finally for a debate. So people are asking questions and we can say, like, who can actually answer them. But at the same time, I'm also mindful that Nigerians can easily fall for the person who comes from their ethnic group or their religion who can string two decent sentences together in English language, and they're like, yeah, that's the guy I vote for. So ultimately, we need to look at, what are the facts? What have they done? And if they haven't done enough, why are we still recycling the same people for the past 4 or 5 decades in the country?
Yeah, I totally agree with, in terms of track record. I think that's a huge thing. One thing I would say, like, I don't envision a time where, like, the political sphere in Nigeria will be totally void of religion. That is why it's important to find ways, I would say, to work around the religious aspect of it, because religion is part of the fabric. Actually, it's a huge export of Nigerians. Like, if you go to various countries, so I think religion is part of Nigeria. The
Nigerians are running all the churches abroad. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, like, they take it. Oh, I'm telling you, it's like huge. There was a pastor that was recently deported from South Africa because he was doing things he wasn't supposed to do. So it's huge, and it's embedded in that Nigerian society. So although it's not good, if we can get away from this over reliance or them exploiting religion, but we can shed light and expose the exploitation, which is why I brought about the debate aspect of it. And I do, kind of understand where you're coming from. I think it's Nigerians that have to be the ones to poke holes and expose those things so they can really vote for the right person.
I think there's something about knowing where you come from before you know where you're going.